Jersey. Hello, Crit. And welcome, everybody, to the most exciting thing you could possibly ever do on a Wednesday night. That's my phone telling me that I'm on. Thanks, Jersey. Appreciate that. All right. So how's everybody doing? Got anybody new tonight? And if so, where are you tuning in from? And yes, the thumbnail, that is a picture of 1988 Uncle D. There's like pictures that I could have used that would have been like way, way funnier. But I don't have them. I don't have copies of them. I need to get them. That was the only one I could find that was from the 80s. Yeah, I would have been I would have just graduated high school, I think, in that picture. I think that was on New Year's Eve. No, I would have been a senior. Yeah, I'd have been a senior in high school. So tonight, by the title, totally 80s, I just thought it'd be fun to just do some fun guitar riffs from the 1980s. And these are all riffs that I played before, but I haven't played some of them in a really long time. So I'll probably be learning them along with you guys again, which I always seem to kind of like that. So as usual, there's a link in the description where you can download the tabs so you can follow along. And yeah, if you that whole YouTube algorithm thing, if you like what I'm doing, show me some love, hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment, yada yada yada, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Oh, you got a doozy of a senior year picture? The ones that I wanted to show would have been like 2 years before that one was taken, and they are really hilarious. Like I was really trying hard to do the whole 80s glam rock thing, so like pictures of my hair all ratted up all crazy and eyeliner on and all this stuff. It's pretty funny. All right, so I hope everybody's had a chance to grab those tabs, and let's see what we got here. Okay, so wow, these are obviously not put in an order of difficulty, because this one here is the first one here is considerably harder than what the second one is, because it's on the same page. All right, Jersey, good luck. Hope everything works out. Yeah, so this first one is the riff from Youth Gone Wild by Skid Row. So not only is this a cool riff, but this is like a really good example of using dyads. We've talked, I've done live streams just exclusively on that subject. So for just, really quick, for those of you who don't know, a dyad is a chord that only has two notes. So the power chord shape that you probably, have already done, that's a dyad. And that's a fifth because like it's here, it's an A. So if I played the A major scale and I counted up to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have A5. But besides that, you have diminished, you have a fourth, you have a major third, you have a minor third. There's lots of different ones. So this riff is a really good example of that, and kind of it's a cool riff, and you can really kind of see how you can really do neat stuff with this, because it what it ends up doing by using these other dyad shapes is that you can create a chordal melody inside your riff. So that's how this one is. So it's played entirely on the D and the G string. Oh, it doesn't have. I wish that it had the chord names up above. Not that you're going to be memorizing, but just so you can kind of understand that when you see them written, like what. Like if you look on the second one, the second song, you can see like there's E5, D5, A5, because those are all just fifth chords. But these other ones have different names that would have been good to see. But I've already covered all of that in, probably more than once. All right, so we're going to start off and we're going to play just the D and the G string together, open. And we do this on the and of 4. So it's like we rest 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if you'll notice that that is tied to the downbeat of 1 of the second measure. So it gets a full beat. It just starts on the and of 4. And then the next dyad shape we're going to go to, we're just going to bar at the 5th fret on the D and the G string. And so I'm using my 3rd finger. I know you could use your 1st finger, but just bear with me. It's easier if you do it this way. So you're going to have that 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and. So on the and of 1, we're going to hit the 5th fret on both of those strings, just the D and the G for all of this. And then we're going to move it down to the 3rd fret. So I'm going to use my 1st finger. So we're hitting that on the downbeat of 2, and then the and of 2, it's the open strings again. So let's see. All right, so then on the downbeat of 3, we're going to do this shape here. So I'm on the 3rd fret of the D string with my 2nd finger, and I'm on the 2nd fret of the G string with my 1st finger. So this dyad is a major 3rd. So again, I've already went over this in some other things, but it's really useful if you just learn what those dyad shapes are. So we're going to hit that, and then we're going to go to the 3rd fret. So I just use my 2nd finger. So we've got, and then we end that with the open strings again. So we end up getting is that vocal melody. Da 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 da. I'm not going to try to sing Sebastian Bach, but all right. So that is our first 2 measures technically, but the first measure we're only playing on the and of 4, and then the 2nd measure is kind of the same thing. So we hit that open strings on the and of 4 at the end of the 2nd measure, and then on the 3rd measure it's tied to the downbeat of 1. So it's that same timing. We're going to go back to 5 again, back to 3 again, open. So it's basically the exact same thing. The only thing that's going to be different is on the and of 4. And again, like I said, I haven't looked at this for a long time. I would have, saved some steps there if I just would have looked at it. So let me start again. So now the next one is going to be the same thing, but instead of going to the open strings, we're going to do a 5 chord. So we're going to be doing this E flat. So 1st fret of the D string with your 1st finger, and the 3rd fret of the G string with your 3rd finger. So far. Now the 4th measure, back up to 5 again, 3, open, 2, 3. So we basically do that twice. and then the last is like the beginning, and then the whole thing just repeats. So you got. So, like I said, it's a cool riff, but that's a really good example of seeing how by, we've got fifths, fourths, major thirds. So it's creating that melody, that vocal melody through the riff. All right. So does anybody have any questions about that one? And if you're just joining us, or if you are just joining us, there is a link in the description where you can download the tabs for these. All right. So we can move along. So this next one here, this is probably in the top 5 most played things that I've played the most in my entire life, probably, because this was like the first, well, not the first, but one of the very first songs that I learned how to play by ear that I actually did correct. And so I pretty much got it memorized. But this is a really cool riff. It's all just completely made of just fifth power chords. It's "Living After Midnight" by Judas Priest. It is a the rhythm in it, like there's lots of like mute strums. I don't know. It's like a really cool riff. I mean, this is super just bubblegum, kind of pop music, but it, in a metal song or whatever. But this is a really awesome album. This is like this was probably the first stuff by them that I heard when I was a kid. 'Cause this album came out when I was like 10. All right, so pretty easy. We're going to be just doing that power chord shape, the fifth shape, all the way through this. So just like I've said in previous lessons, you see here the very first one is E5. So it's the 7th fret of the A string because that's an E. And then the 9th fret of the D string because that's the 5th from the scale. Or my bad. And then the note where it's 9 on the G string is it's the same note as your root. It's the 8. So if you're a beginner, it's often difficult to be able to get all 3 of those strings. So if you can't get all 3 of them, just get the lower 2. You want to just, you want to get everything that's on the A and the D string. If you can get the stuff on the G string, cool. If you can't, that's totally fine too. Keeps sounding like it's out of tune, but I think I just might be kind of pulling on it. All right, so we start off with that E5, and this is like pretty straightforward as far as everything with counting it. It's really easy to tap your foot and feel it. It's just getting some of the mute strums in there. If you're fairly new to playing, that can be kind of challenging, or at least I remember it really being challenging for me, and I've had students that have struggled with it as well. So we're going to play this for beats 1 and 2, so quarter notes. So you got, and then on the downbeat of 3, we're just going to do a mute strum. So all I do is I just release the pressure. So I'm not pressing down on the strings, but I'm still touching them. So that way when I strum, I just get that percussive sound. And we're doing that on the downbeat of 3. But then on the end of 3, we're going to go to a D5. So we're just going to take that shape and we're going to move it down a whole step. So now you're at the first fingers on the 5th fret, your 3rd and 4th fingers are on the 7th fret. So you got it. Then we have another mute and then an A5. So you could argue that maybe they're going here, but I like the way that sounds better, and it sounds more right to me. So, but not a big deal. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2. So the second measure is this. Well, actually, all of them are the same. They're all the same timing, each measure, with the exception of the very last one. You've got 2 quarter notes and then 4 eighth notes. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and it's really hard to play it and count it at the same time, but you get the idea that you're. So when we hit on the second measure, we hit the A5 twice. So 1, 2, and then on the downbeat of 3, it's a mute, and then a B5. So second fret of the A string with your first finger, and fourth fret of the D and or G string with your third and fourth finger. And so the same timing there, we got 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then on the and of 4, we're back up to the E5 where we started. So this riff just repeats. When you're listening to the song, once you know that it repeats and you learn how to play it, it's easy to tell. But at first, when you're first listening to it, it's kind of interesting the way that he does the vocal melody. It doesn't sound like they're just randomly changing everything up, but it doesn't sound as repetitive as it is actually as it actually is. All right, so that's basically the riff. Okay, so the third time you play it, when you come down to the A, so this would be the third time. We're going to do the B5, and this is where the timing I said is a little bit different. So we hit that. See, I got to find where we are on here. It's weird. I don't remember doing it that many times, and this is a song that I figured would be, permanently etched into my brain. Oh no, that's the A5. Sorry, I should have brought my other glasses down here with me so I could see what the hell I'm looking at here. Totally forgot you can zoom in. All right, got the blind guy version of it up here. God bless America. What in the crap is going on here? My computer's freaking out. All right, that apparently isn't going to work. Let's see. Okay, that's right. I looked at an A5 and I thought it was a B5 because I'm blind. So yeah, so you're going to do on the third time when you get to the A, you're going to go to that B5, and you've got the mutes in there. So that's why I said the timing on that part is a little bit different. Yes, Crit, that's that part. So this is like the chorus. The chorus is like the main riff because the verse is just they're just pedaling this E5. So the rest of the song is actually pretty easy. maybe that would have been a better thing to have done with this, is just we could have done the whole song and the solo and everything, because the solo for this is pretty easy to play. But anyway, yeah, that's Living After Midnight. Um, it's in standard tuning. It's not very fast. This is a really good one to play along with the track, because, well, one, it's like super fun, and two, it'll really kind of it'll make your timing better, because you know your hands will get where they're trying to they'll sync up with the recording, and it may not even be a thing where you could necessarily count it and know that, oh, well, I'm hitting this here or there. It just makes it a whoops, I almost just disconnected. Um, and my train of thought, you remember what the hell I was saying. Oh yeah, playing along with the track. It just makes you it, you know, like I said, you may not be able to, like, oh, I'm on the and before or whatever, but you'll be able to have it, you'll be able to feel it. And that's really the most important thing, is to be able to have that, to be able to feel. When you're jamming with people, that's what it's all about, is about feeling. It's not about, counting and stuff. I mean, to a point there's counting, but I mean, you don't want it to be, you're doing it, you're doing music, you're not doing, like math, like, like a math uh, contest or something. All right. So, anybody have any questions on that one? All righty then. It was God. God with the double D. Uh, all right. Next one. Okay. I Want to Rock by Twisted Sister. So, when I was in the seventh grade, I thought Twisted Sister was like the end all be all of music. I I only listened to Kiss, when I was a kid, and then I started kind of branching out of that, and I saw the video for We're Not Gonna Take It. I saw these guys are awesome, and I just totally loved it. Anyway, this is kind of a cool riff too, pretty easy, just basic power chords. So we're gonna start off. See, it's an A5, A5, and then a G5, and then a D5. Okay, so oh, hello, Marios. I apologize. I really need to bring my other glasses down here, because I can't read anything. I think that's what it says. But welcome. Oh, okay, cool. I did get it right. I'm like really bad. The older I get, the worse I get at pronouncing names and stuff. But anyway, welcome, and there's a link in the description where you can download the tabs and whatnot. Can you ask something? Absolutely. You're writing a solo. So you mean you're like composing an actual, like over for a song or whatever? Okay, so like you're going to do the entire thing, just triplets, or you're? I'm not sure what your question is. So continue. All right. Well, while he's getting his, oh, I started from A minor, and I want to add F sharp. Okay, so you're are you referring to like an A minor, like a natural minor scale? Like is that what you mean? Okay, yeah. All right. So um obviously the difference between playing an A minor, uh a key of A minor has no sharps or flats. So you're adding in an F sharp, which actually would change the key to E minor. Um, but if you want to still, um, like if you don't want to actually switch up and play an E minor scale, you could use well, one you could just sharpen the just sharpen the F sharp. But like if you play like a G Mixolydian scale, it has or not a G. I'm sorry. I completely got this mixed up in my brain. Let me start over again. Okay, so you're in A minor, so there's no sharps or flats, but you want to add an F sharp into it. So being rooted from A, you could do instead of playing A Aeolian, play A Dorian because A Dorian is the is the pattern that starts on A in the key of E minor or G major, whichever way you want to look at it, and that key has the F sharp in it. So that's the difference between playing A Aeolian and A Dorian is F versus F sharp. So anyhow, I hope that helps. Do you know what I mean by that? Like Aeolian and Aeolian is just the modal name for the natural minor scale. So like your A B C D E F G and then A again. So if you do uh, Dorian starting on A, it has F sharp in it. So you could play that, and it would be easy to actually go back and forth between the two if you wanted to. Um, well, I guess actually, I guess that's what you would be doing is going back and forth. But it's just not going to be. It shouldn't be a big deal to be able to do that. Does that answer your question? All right. So yeah. So we can. I hope that answers your question. We can take a look at this. I want to rock. So we got just an A5. So it's just like your regular A major chord, but you're just not picking up the B string. So here I'm on the A string is open, and I'm on the second fret of the D and the G string, and these are quarter notes. So it's 1, 2. Then we're going to go to a G5, and just like on the last one, if you can't get if you can't get all three strings, you just the lower two. So third fret of the low E, and then the fifth fret of the A and the D string, and we're going to hit this. This is an eighth note, and then two 16th notes. So da 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 da. So 1, 2, 3, and 3, E, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, 3, and 4. Hello, Victor. Welcome. Uh, so you're starting this. You're going G, A, and then A sharp. So you're like. Yeah, it's if you're doing that, you're gonna go you're gonna add the A sharp up at the top because that would be like it's like you're starting off ascending Aeolian and then you're switching over to A Phrygian because you're adding in that other note. Yeah, okay. What the I don't the F sharp that you were talking about isn't there now. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is that you're asking me, but really, and it also depends on what you're playing over too. Oh, so there's not F sharp, it's A sharp. So you want to have, but you don't want to do the A sharp until the end because if you did it here and you went A sharp, oh, but then you got B, so you want A B C D E F G A. Yeah, so you're just gonna have to treat it as like a passing tone. I mean, you could play Phrygian, you could play Dorian, or you could play Aeolian, all starting on A, depending upon what you're playing over, what the chord voicing is. But if it's just like a metal thing, like where you're just playing over like an A5, you can add any of those passing notes in there. Some of them are going to sound better than others. You just kind of have to do it by play it, and if it sounds good, if it sounds right, it's right. Yeah, well, B, C, and D are already in there from what you had earlier. Yeah, it's like through this medium, it's like really hard to understand for sure what it is you're you're asking. I mean, I hope I'm helping, and I hope I'm not having bored everybody else to tears. Um, yeah, so for the I Want to Rock, yeah, you're making chromatic because you're doing three notes. You're going A sharp, and B. But you can just treat the A sharp as like a passing tone. I mean, there's lots of cool things that can be chromatic. All right, so on the now it's going to go to a D5, but instead of doing it like this, yeah. So those are your A B C D E F G and A sharp. So you're basically doing A minor, but you got that passing tone in there. Yeah, A B C D E F G A. That would be A minor, but then you're adding an A sharp. So you got that chromaticism. You'd have uh, that one extra note. Um, so this D5, if you just take, instead of doing it like this, you just take the D major chord, open chord you already know, but you do not want to pick up this F sharp here on the second fret because that's the third. That's what makes it a major chord. So what I do is I just let my third finger, I'm fretting on the B string. The pad part of it is just touching the high E string, so that way you don't hear it. Same timing that we did on the other one, but it's starting on the downbeat of 1. And then we have an E5 it's a quarter note on beat 3, and then another G5 for 4. So that's like the first two measures. Okay, then starting on the third measure, it's exactly the same as the first one. So the A5, G5, D5. But now we're going to come up and do an E5 here. So the 7th fret of the A string, 9th fret of the D and or G string. That's beat 3, and then down to C5. So the 3rd fret and the 5th fret for beat 4. Whoops. So the whole thing is. And then the whole thing just repeats. Yeah, it's the A minor scale. You're adding an A sharp. You're just putting a chromatic movement in there. And the way that you had it, where you've got it written out, you're not going like that. You're adding it in, or wrong string. So it kind of gives it that little bit of that Phrygian sound by having that minor second interval in there. But yeah, don't overthink it, man. You're on the right track. It's A minor that you're adding in that passing tone. Yeah, it'll work. Now, anytime you add in a note that's out of key, you do run the risk of, like I said, it depends on what you're playing over. If you're playing over like an A chord and you add in an A flat, that doesn't sound very good, but it just, it all depends on where it is. Trust your ear. Like I said, if it sounds good, it's good. All right. Next one. Oh, okay. This one, I remember it being, always thinking that it was kind of tricky, but it's, oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Marios. I hope that answered your question. Seems like I kind of remember this one being a little. Oh no, I remember how to play it now. Okay, so another one that's going to have some dyad shapes. So we got this first one here. It's a major third. This one's "Fly to the Angels" jersey. It's on the second page. So with your first finger, we do a slide from nowhere on the G string to the 6th fret, and then you want to land your second finger onto the 7th fret of the D string, and then the A string open. So it's 1 and 2, and you want it all to ring out over the top of each other like that. So now on the and of 2, you're going to take your third finger and you're going to put it onto the 7th fret of the G string. Just keep your other fingers where they are, and G, D, A. So now with your pinky, you're going to reach up and grab the 9th fret of the G string back to the A string. Like that. Now you're going to hit the oh, okay. Again, look at a thing. I thought it was a 5, and it's a 9. I have to actually look at the music to be able to remember to get the right one sometimes. Yeah, so we do that slide from nowhere, and follow that with the open. In alternative metal, we use that kind of melodies today. Yeah, uh, I've heard some stuff, but it's not anything new as far as even for metal. Like listen to like some like Megadeth's like first three records. I mean, all of them he does this, but on the first one, Mustaine really does a lot of chromatic things that sound really awesome. Whenever I've tried to do it, it doesn't always. I don't really think it sounds all that good when I do it, but I guess it's just because I'm not executing it as well. So that's like, if we think about that as like the first kind of riff. So 6 and 7 to open. Now your third finger down on the 7th fret of the G string. So G, D, A. Then your pinky up to the 9th fret to A. We skip over the D string. 4 and then on the next measure, we just do G, D, A, right where we are. Now we take our pinky off, so we're back to 7. And then take our third finger off and go G to A. So it's the exact same timing on both of those measures. And then it's the next measure where it does get a little bit trickier. So now, after we do that, let's see. Oh yeah, okay, this here. So this is the part that I always kind of had trouble with. Now we're going to have to completely change our hand position. So I go from using my first and second finger here. Now I'm going to use my ring finger, and I'm going to slide from the 6th fret to the 7th fret on the G string, and then 4th fret on the D string. So we go to the open A string. So. Then we're going to take we're going to flatten the note on the G string from the 7th fret to the 6th fret to the D string. Now we're going to, with your first finger, it's already right here on the 4th fret of the D string. So we're going to drop it, or move it up rather, to the 4th fret of the G string, and we're going to pick that, slide to the 2nd fret, and back to 4, and then to an A suspended 2. So an A suspended 2 is just your A minor chord. Just take your first finger off, so the B string is open. Whoops. See, that part, little slidey part, I think I suck at that. Anyhow, we have that A suspended 2 on 1. Now, on here, you don't have to be quite that precise. You just want that timing. So I just kind of 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. And then it's tied to the downbeat of 1 of the next measure. Then it ends with this little lick. 2nd fret of the D string, your first finger. We're going to pick that and do a hammer onto the 4th fret. Then we're going to go to the G string. We're going to do the same thing, but we're not going to hammer it on. So we got. Now we've got a slide. I just treat it like a slide from nowhere, but you can just do it starting where your third finger is now on the 4th fret. And we're going to slide to the 6th fret, but we want, so you pick and slide simultaneous, like a slide from nowhere. And then drop your 2nd finger to the 5th fret of the B string. Then you're going to shift back down, so you're on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and you're going to pick that and pull to the 2nd fret, and then end on the 4th fret of the D string. Like that. So like I said, that one part is kind of tricky. I think I totally suck. I've never thought that I played that one part where it sounded right. But like, if you like, the software I make tabs with and stuff, if you hit play, it sounds right. It's always sounded right. It doesn't sound right when I play it. All right. Does anybody have any questions about that one? All right. Oh, thank you, Marios. Crit. Cool. All right. We are in the home stretch. Oh, okay. This is a cool one. Fantasy by Aldo Nova. It's really easy, but it's like a really cool riff. This was the very first cassette tape that I ever bought. Well, I didn't buy it. I got it like for Christmas or whatever. Or no, I got it for my birthday, because my birthday's right by Christmas. So I got this, and then for Christmas I got Asia. When I was like in the, I don't know, like in the 6th grade or something when those came out. You know who Aldo Nova is? He's I believe he's Canadian. Not 100% sure on that, but it just seems like that's what I remember being Canadian. But he only had this was like his big hit. And then on his next album, he had a song that was kind of a hit, but it wasn't like this one. Once I play it, you'll recognize this song. So this is just using those same power chord shapes like that we were using like in everything else. So we're going to start off with G5, same G5 that we've been doing. Now, this is 1 and then on the downbeat of 2, we rest, and that's just going to buy you just this little second of time to shift to the next chord, which is B flat 5. So we're just going to take that shape, move it up a set of strings, and down a whole step. So now my first finger's on the 1st fret of the A string, and I'm on the 3rd fret of the D and G string. And we hit that on the end of 3, but it's a quarter note. So it's going to be, the end of 2. We're going to hit that on the end of 2, and it's going to ring out for the downbeat of 3, and then we rest on the end of 3 and all of beat 4. And when we hit it, we slide out of it. Now you're thinking, how am I going to slide out of it if I'm on the 1st fret? Well, I just do it. I mean, this is really slowing it down. You have to do it quicker. It doesn't sound good. So we got. So that's like our first measure. Yeah, so it's just because just hitting the A sharps there. So like 5 7 8 5 7 8 5 7 8. Yeah, it really throws your ear off just trying to play up the scale like that. But yeah, if you're doing it from the A minor, A natural minor scale pattern, instead of doing it at anytime you play through the whole sequence, sooner or later you're going to have that chromatic part in there. again, just mess around with it by ear. Yeah, so then we rest on the downbeat of 1, and on the and of 1 we hit the G5 again, and then on the downbeat of 2 it's the C5. So it's the same one we were doing here, but up a whole step. So and then back down there again. So 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So that's the first 2 measures, which is half of the riff. Now the third measure is the same as the first. And then the fourth measure, we're doing the same thing where we rest on the downbeat of 1. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we move back up to C5 and 4, and then rest on the and of 4. So it's just all it's so much easier instead of trying to count the stuff is just to get that groove. Like that, pretty easy. But like I said, I think it's a really cool riff, and there's a lot of neat guitar stuff in there. I mean, he wasn't like some crazy like shred guy or whatever, but he played some cool stuff. Okay, Mario, so you said it sounds okay, so I guess it's fine, I guess. So again, just trust your ear. All of this stuff, when you learn scales or music theory, any of it, don't think of it as being a rule. It's not a rule; it's a guideline. Uh, it's showing you that if you stay inside of these parameters, you're golden. Everything will always sound what is considered good or whatever. But by playing outside of it, that's how a lot of like cool things. There's lots of players that don't know any of that crap and they just completely play by ear. So if it sounds good, do it. Yeah, Nuno Betancourt, he knows all of that different stuff and has crazy good technique, but he does lots of stuff where he does things that colors outside the lines, and it's really awesome. All right. The last one is Livewire by Motley Crue. This they're actually tuned down an entire step. So I'm not going to tune my guitar down. So this is the way that they're playing it. But if you tune your guitar down a whole step, so tune your E down to a D, your A down to a G, so on and so forth, then it'll sound. You'll be in the right key. It still sounds, but that should be, should be like. But you can hear that it's the open string that he's hitting. So this one just uses the dyad shape like the very first one from Youth Gone Wild. So we're going to be pedaling the A string, and then we're going to be fretting on the D and the G string, just on the same fret. So we're going to have 5 and 7. So we come in first with with this chord. So we're 5th fret of the D and the G string. So we rest 1, 2, 3, 4, and we hit that on the and of 4, and then it's tied to beat number 1 of the second measure, and then so it's like it's getting a beat and a half, and then we start pedaling palm muting the open A string, and that's 2 and 3 and 4, and then on the and of 4 we do that again, back to that same chorus we got. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and. Okay, so we do that twice. And then 2 and 3 and 4 and on that, what would that be, the fourth measure? Now we're at that chord again. We got 1 and 2 and. We do 2 mute strums. Then to the 7th fret, mute, and back to 5. So, and then it just repeats. So. Something like that with some harmonics. Yeah, so that's a pretty easy riff, but really cool. That's the Motley Crue I like, is like their first 2 records. I just didn't really get into all the Dr. Feelgood and all that kind of stuff. It's not, I don't think it's bad. It just wasn't my thing. I really like the rawness of this album. And Vince Neil sounds like he's on helium, and that's kind of funny. That's right, Marius. That's true. It's, it's rock and roll. It's not rocket science, right? Some of the coolest riffs ever are really easy to play, and then some of the ones that are really, really difficult, they're not. People don't like them. Most people just they want to have music that moves them or whatever, not like, oh, that was really complicated, or that was difficult to do, or that's hard to count. Any of that stuff. Yeah, so that is it. That is, and I'm sure this will just be volume 1. There's the 80s was my era. I know a lot of stuff from there. There's lots of cool stuff that happened there. But we could also do this for the 90s, for the 2000s, for the 70s, for the 60s. I mean, there's you have to get into the stuff before my time. But yeah. All right, Crit, have a good one. All right, so yeah, I appreciate everybody that comes here. You guys that are here, week after week, I really appreciate it. If you like what I'm doing, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel, all that kind of stuff. Shows Guitar Control that I'm doing a good job for him, and I can keep my job. So that'd be really awesome if you could do that. And if you're just joining us late, there is a link in the description where you can get the tabs, and then you can watch, the rerun of the video. All right. So yeah, again, thanks everybody for coming out. Hope everybody has a great week, and take it easy out there. I made the mistake of watching the news today, and man, the world's just full of crazy people. So yeah. Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah. So again, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. I will see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, all that good stuff. Have a great night, everybody. See ya.